Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. If you are new to this podcast, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us today on this episode of Her Version. I have Christine here with us today. She is an intuitive business coach and energy healer. She teaches fundamentals on how to heal, meditate, align with your soul's purpose, and emotional suffering, and how to trust your intuition. She created the Lightworkers Business Village to help entrepreneurs remove any emotional or energetic blocks, stand strong in their business as a lighthouse, and shift energy to allow for abundance in all areas of your life and business. Her story is so inspiring, and I'm so thrilled to have her here with us. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you. Hello,
How
hello.
you doing?
I am great.
Awesome.
Glad to be
Hey,
here.
I also just wanted to let our listeners know, because you told me that you actually have a free ebook. Do
Yes.
you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So on my website, healingsoulschool.com, there is an orange button right at the top of the homepage, and it's the steps to self-healing. It's how to get started to go within and to heal yourself. You are your own best healer. And the steps are there, but I've also included, it's the idea is anyone who's been raised in any kind of trauma or abuse, or if you have dissociation where it's hard to stay focused or you're numbing, all those sorts of things. That's who I wrote it for in mind, because I'm one of those people. And so I, wrote it in just my observation in my healing journey, especially this last year and a half. And some of the things that I started to notice as I was calming my nervous system that I was still dealing with every day from, the past, and just wanted to really help people to give them a hand or a leg up on how to start or how to really release that, calm your nervous system, come back into your authentic self or within.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I feel like those are the best people to be writing something like that for, because a lot of times we're really timid when we first start to like open up and do all of the things. We're like, we're kind of scared almost. So I love
Mhm.
that you put that together for us. So thank you.
Cool.
I loved your story, everything about you. We have a very similar background. And I was hoping before we kind of dig into all of the goodies and all of your knowledge that you have regarding your space, I was hoping
Mhm.
that you could kind of backtrack a little bit and tell us, a little backstory about your past and some challenges that you went through that kind of helped set you up for the journey that you're on now.
Absolutely. Thank you. So was born in and raised into a Jehovah's Witness family. That's where our connection is. And at 13, I was able to leave. Thankfully, my mom said that we didn't have to go back, my sister and I. And I just, from that time, and not here to bash any religions, but I would just say that I just knew at 13 that it wasn't for me, that how people were treated within was not something that felt like was very loving, and it was something I didn't want to be a part of anymore. And then I went to a Catholic high school, then I married into a Baptist family, and I thought the Baptist people were like the true religion. And now that I look back, I just realized that I was once again included and loved and accepted in another group very similar to the Jehovah's Witnesses. And so it was just this feeling of home in a sense, but there was more control, more, if you don't do this or fit in this paradigm or this box, then you're wrong or you're going to hell, or just more fear. And as I grew out of that, and after my divorce, I started to go to non-denominational churches because I still wanted to have a connection. I had felt that in the church, well, the Baptist one mainly. And so I wanted that. And I just really was on a search of like what that looked like. I kind of felt like the little boy and the alchemist, just looking and searching. And I found more spirituality, I would say, in the last year and a half. And that was taboo for us, growing up as Jehovah's Witnesses. We weren't allowed to engage in anything new age or esoteric or anything of the spirit realm. We were taught that it was evil and we would bring bad things into our home if we did. And so I thought, you know what, I'm at a place in my life where what do I believe and what feels really good to me, and just started to search there. And now I feel like instead of swimming in the swimming pool, I feel like I'm swimming in the ocean, and I get to kind of go out there and figure out what works for me, as everyone else. Everyone's on their own journey, and I've just found some things that really resonate. And part of that is energy and energy work and healing. So for me, it's really the science and spirituality. I'm very grateful for the way that I was brought up, because I have a very high level of discernment, or a bullshit meter. And so I'm like, you got to prove that to me, because I don't think I can buy into that hook, line, and sinker, because I've been down that path before, and it feels similar. So even in the spiritual community, I feel like there is a lot of control and almost even cultish in a way of, you got to do these things. And it's like, no, I really just need to connect direct to source for myself, or what feels good within, and not really go back to these rituals, or you've got to sage, or you got to do these things, otherwise, more bad things. No. I just can't buy into that. So that's where the science is really helpful for me, because I feel it's some of the meat. It's why do things happen? And then I can easily, understand, let it sink in, put it towards my intuition and what feels good inside, and then decide if that's something that is for me or not.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you feel comfortable expanding on this, but
Sure.
I kind of did the same thing you did, where when I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, kind of dabbled around. And one of the things that I did is went to a non-denominational church, and I actually attended for quite a while. I want to say maybe only about a year or so,
Mm.
until it just kind of felt, I mean, again, exactly what you said, bullshit meter, and just kind of like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
But the camaraderie is what I was really looking for, and the
Yeah.
community is what I was really looking for. So, do you have any advice for individuals who are kind of on that same route, where they're kind of like, yeah, this really isn't working for me. However, where do I go for my community?
Absolutely. I think it's really just like finding what resonates with yourself, or just even ask the universe, I would like a community, I would like a spiritual mentor, or whatever it is that you're looking for, and then just leave it. And what's going to happen is the people who are meant for you, or your tribe, or those that are going to help you with that next level, are going to come. I've been to non-denominational churches, and what really draws me there is the music and the community, of course, and to feel like so cool when you're singing. And I've been part of a couple of churches that, and excuse me, they turn the lights down, so it's almost like you're at a concert and everyone's
Yes.
there, and it's like
Yes.
the energy is really great in the room. And I love that piece of it. So you got to kind of figure, I guess, whatever is going to be in your area, or create something. If you
Mm-hmm.
can't find it, then create it. So we've started doing that. We're doing new moon and full moon meditations at our house in our backyard, just to bring in community and to talk about the things that we like to talk about and are comfortable, and we're not having to fit into a box. Because what I find with organized religion, even if it's non-denominational, there's still some basis of Christianity there usually. And with that, there's still more condemnation. You were born a sinner. You weren't worthy when you were born. You have to do these things in order to be approved. And I don't buy into that anymore. I just feel that there's a lot of fear. I think at one time we needed that as society, back when religion started, and villages were being pillaged and all of that. But we have grown as a society, and we don't need those kinds of things anymore to keep us on the straight and narrow. I think that, we just intuitively can do what feels good to us as good people, but then having a community and finding what they are, it just depends what you're looking for. If you're, interested in more spirituality and what that is, and the quantum field, sorry, going to be turned off.
It's okay.
Just connecting to something that feels really good to you. I own the Healing Soul School, and we are strictly a spiritual community, which means come as you are. We are woo crew, so we'll talk about everything, oracle cards or energy healing. If you want to talk about astral travel, we're super open. And so we have that community. I wanted to build a community of people that I could speak my heart and learn, really, because I didn't know all this stuff growing up. And again, it was so taboo. So it's so interesting to me now. It's like, oh, well, why do you do that? And what's the point behind saging? What's the point behind energy healing or tapping into like what your emotions are that you're holding in your body? There's so much that we can use, I think, from Native Indians, our ancestors, moon cycles, all of that our grandparents did, where they connected to nature, they connected back to themselves. And we've just gotten away from that, where now I feel we look outside of ourselves for that happiness or filling our cup or whatever, but we're all being called right now to come back home, and that's to come home within. So it could be having a practice in your home, or it's a meditation, or going to a yoga studio and being part of a class. Maybe that's your community and your form of church, or connecting. It's what feels good to you, what lights you up, and you come home, or you're in that, maybe even on a Zoom call, and after you're like, yes, you feel fulfilled from it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I remember seeing this comedian. I want to say he's an atheist, but he kind of was doing this joke where he goes, "I rape and kill as many people as I want to rape and kill." Basically insinuating, because I'm not in a religion, I rape and kill
Right.
whoever I want. And he goes, I rape and kill 0 people every year.
Right.
So it's kind of back to what you were saying. And there's raping and pillaging. It's not something that is happening anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I shouldn't say that. It's not something that is as prevalent as it was at one point. I apologize. And the thought process of there needs to be a godly figure or a heavenly figure that is giving us judgment or making us fearful in order for us to be good, decent human beings isn't necessarily a thing anymore. And for some people, yes, and for some people, no. And like you said, it's finding what works for you. But I thought that was funny that you said that. It kind of reminded me of that comedian, and I thought that was so funny because it's so true. I remember feeling that, like, what if nobody believed in God? Then we'd all be, destined to getting murdered, or there'd be total anarchy, and that isn't necessarily the case.
No.
100%. I want to talk a little bit about. So we had a call before, this podcast, to kind of create our flow of what we're doing. And there was something really interesting that you kind of brought up that I want to kind of dive into. And you mentioned a few steps that I'd kind of like you to expand on and kind of tell us what they're, I guess, best used for. So the first one was, you were talking about becoming an observer, like an observer of your life. The second one is breath work and meditation. And the third one is mastering your own triggers and emotions. So if you could kind of tell me what those would be used for and then what they kind of are.
Cool. These are the steps to healing yourself. And so what you want to do is, very often we're living in the 3D world of, whatever happens, I'm seeing it, or I'm aware of what's going on. And so when you can take a step out of your body and just look at it from top down. So maybe you're a fly on the wall, or you're looking at it, you take that step back, and your divine feminine, as I say, your safe feminine, is you take the step back and you observe like what's going on, so that you can then think about how you want to respond instead of reacting. What happens with this is you will come to a place where you're not reacting, you're not freaking out. Something happens and it's going to be this knee-jerk kind of reaction that we're normally used to. That's how we were raised, majority society. So now, by being the observer, you can take that step back, you can have a breath, and really just think about what is happening right now, what's for my highest good to move forward, and what is my learn, what's the lesson. We'll talk about triggers in a second. So that's really about being the observer. That's kind of just step one. Have a look to see what's going on so that you can kind of assess what's happening.
100%. And then
Mhm.
breath work and meditation.
Yeah. So this is everything. This is your breath. This is connecting back to source, to spirit, creator, nature, the trees, whatever your comfort word is, it's all the same. It's all energy. And so by being able to connect to your breath work, it's taking that moment where, so you've taken the pause and now really just sink into your breath so that you're being present. Because when you're present, now you're able to see what's happening around you. Your prefrontal cortex is open. Sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry. So when you're going down into your breath, then you are activating your vagus nerve. You're activating the parts of your body that are going to help you connect your intuition to give you the answers of what you're looking for. So you're triggered in the moment. Kid is freaking out on the floor, and right away you're like, your fight or flight automatically just kicks in as it's meant to. And so by being able to take that step back, I'm the observer. Okay, what's happening? She's not in danger. There's nothing like around her that can hurt her. So let me take a step back. And now I just come into my breath before I respond. Because normally I would just freak out, like, what are you doing? Or, now I'm all in a tizzy by that trigger. So it's like, okay, let me come into my breath first. And the more that you can do that and become aware, then more becomes available to you. You can actually see more of your opportunities in front of you instead of being stuck in this fight or flight. And also by connecting to the breath, you're present and you're coming into a space of there is possibility, or there is a hope, there is a solution to every problem, as opposed to, hair's on fire and you're freaking out and trying to figure out what to do. And then the meditation is really to calm your mind. And science has proven that the more that you meditate and you go within, and it might be just, on a Zoom call, and I can have my eyes open right now and I have my hand on my belly. So I'm taking breaths so that I'm calm and I'm able to think about what I want to say next. But I'm feeling safe right now because I've trained my body that when I'm in this state, I'm in rest and digest. It's okay. There's no threat. I can just relax and more is open and available to me. The meditation actually rewires the neural pathways in your brain so that you are not stuck in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. You're able to actually look at your day or, just be in a better space. When you meditate in the morning, it totally changes your whole day and the trajectory, because now you're in a space of your present. You're aware, what are, the top 3 things that I'd like to get done today. You're following your intuition. You're in a calmer space. Now, when I wake up the little one for school, I'm calm versus, waking up, hitting the snooze. Now, I'm in this frantic state, and like, that's no fun way to start the day. So when I started to go within, when I wake up and I realize I'm coming to the day starting, being in my breath work, taking those 5 breaths, what am I grateful for? And then dropping into a meditation, whether you're able to do it and close your eyes or do a guided one, it just sets your calm for the day. Now, when I wake the little one up, she's also going to be in a calm state because the kids feed off us, or our spouses, or whoever's around you, your pets. They feed off of your energy. And so if you're in this constant fight or flight, so is everyone else in the house. Yeah. You focus on you calm yourself and calm your nervous system. Then what happens is everyone else around you starts to calm down as well. Kind of my frantic state was, I was in a depression 3 years ago, kid on the floor. It's, winter time and she's got to put on her snow, she's 5 at the time, and like try to get a dead weight child to put on anything. It doesn't work, right? Yeah. And so I was just like, I threw my hands up and I'm like, there's gotta be a better way. Like, I don't want to live this life. And so I really just started to study the brain and like focusing on myself and really just calming and coming down into that. And now, like, there's less temper tantrums. I'm not yelling the same. I'm more present. It's just a way of life that is so much more enjoyable. And one last thing I'll say on the meditation is I started last October. My business partner taught me how to meditate, really how to meditate. And we have that in our Facebook group if anyone wants to know how. We offer that for free in our guides tab. And so 5 months in now, I've been meditating, and her recommendation is once in the morning and then once at 2 o'clock, even if it's 15 or 20 minutes. It's a reset for the day. Now you can go into a meeting in a better frame of mind. You're open, you're aware, you're not tired. You can be with the kids or whomever's at home, and you're just more present. So after 5 months, I realized I was holding my breath. I had no idea that I'd been holding my breath my
Yes.
whole life. That's anxiety breath. That's trauma breath. That's
Yeah.
predator breath.
I've had
Because
that.
I grew up living on pins and needles, right? And
Yeah.
so, or walking on eggshells. And so my body is always in that fight or flight because it's just how the programming that happened. It's okay. I know that and have healed a lot of that stuff. But now I get to observe when I'm in that state. So if I'm watching something or someone, calls my name or a message comes through, I now can feel when I go from rest and digest to fight or flight. And then I can take that step back and I observe, okay, am I meant to go through this situation, or how am I going to handle it? Or how can I remove this because this is not healthy for me anymore? I turned off the notifications on most of my apps because it's a dopamine hit, right?
Yeah.
An app comes in, you're like, ooh, I got a message, right? And so and it feels good. And you're like, ooh, I got to check it. But really, I should be doing my whatever for work. So now I'm dissociating or I'm numbing or I'm in this lull of I need a fix and I don't have one. So am I getting sugar? Am I going on something that's going to excite me or listen to something on YouTube that's going to bring that back up because it's what my body is used to? Or am I going to say, no, body, thank you. We're good. I'm going to do this instead. I'm just going to, instead of, any addiction, I'm going to choose to do this instead because it's more healthy for my frame of mind. I feel calmer. And so it's great because now I'm picking up when I'm being thrown into that fight or flight. And now I can say, okay, what is this and what's going on? And do I really need it in my life, or can I remove it for now or forever until I feel stronger? And I can come back to a place where, my boundaries are strong, I'm understanding my body, and I'm really just able to know, kind of what's going on in that moment and really what's happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned trauma. Do you think that a person can fully heal from past trauma?
Yeah, I do. I do. And that's a tall order, definitely, because it depends on what has happened. And I don't think you have to be in therapy for, 3, 5, 25 years either. I think that you can understand the foundations of how to heal yourself and then just know, and it takes some practice, it's repetition, but to know how to look after yourself in that way. And you have to work with someone depending on what that was. We don't see our own blind spots. And for me, I just go to the root when I'm working with someone. So like, tell me no, you have to tell me what happened. I don't need to know. I actually just want to know what is bothering you right now. What are the things that you're tripping up on each day? Is it your husband's not talking to you, or in business, you're coming up across the same scenario every single time, or you have a really great program, but no one's coming in, it's crickets, all of those things. It's our medicine to tell us where that root is or what it is. And then I just go back. When was the first time you felt like that? And it's so cool to see like the light bulb go off
Yes.
because and I'm going to go a little bit deeper here for you, like just so people can understand kind of like where this can be or where that trauma can be. It could be something that happened to you in your lifetime, definitely. And I feel it's a lesson that you've come here to learn. And that's the law of polarity, the dark and the light. Okay. So we have everything within us. And so if you have a lack of confidence, especially in business, maybe, that's like the negative part for you. So the lack of confidence is what's up high, but you have confidence within you. It's just not what what you're focused on. So the law of polarity is we'll just get you to a place where we'll bring that confidence out. And there's a way to do that, but why aren't you confident? Why are you hiding? There's a message behind there. It's your medicine, which is so beautiful. What triggers you? More of your medicine, because it's just going to tell me what your patterns are. Once you know your patterns, you're like, it's so much easier to objectively look at yourself. So now my pattern growing up, I don't know my bio dad. So my pattern was abandonment and rejection. Can I tell you how much that has affected my dating life, my marriage, my business, all of that? Because as you do one thing, you do everything. And so by being able to heal that and to release it, it's been a progress, definitely, but I've healed it, which is so beautiful and so amazing. So now I can observe when I'm in a scenario And I feel like I'm going back down that same path of this doesn't feel safe. I'm back in my fight or flight. I feel like I'm being rejected. Maybe, I'm dating again. So maybe someone doesn't message me back 4 days. Okay. So now I'm back in my junk, right? And it's like, okay, let me have a look at the scenario. And again, am I taking it on of my old story of I'm being rejected, or can I just hold space that maybe something happened and actually just happened and something had in the family? So it's just rewiring and looking at it from a different perspective instead of the old stories we've been telling ourselves for decades over and over and over. And then when we're working, or like when you're looking at it, you can do this for yourselves as well. Like think about, what is your pattern? What keeps coming up? When's the first time you felt like that? Or if you're feeling low, what must I believe about myself in order to feel this way? It's going to be one of the lower. Anger is what we mostly say, but it's not even anger. It's shame, or there's guilt, or there's fear. There's something lower that you didn't feel worthy or accepted, or people passed over you. Something like that is usually the root. There's not that many, thankfully. And then I go back to, what was it like growing up in your home? I can tell you so much about how you were raised. And your coping methods now. What was it like in the womb when you were there? If you don't know your parents and you're adopted, then that's a whole other story. And it's not feeling safe and secure on the earth. If you're a chakra person, that's base chakra, healing there. And then generational. We were in our grandmother's eggs. And so what kind of fears and gifts, think about the gifts that they give us as well. But when you're looking at what's bothering you, it's like, okay, what was grandma's fears? Well, my grandma was abandoned by her mom. And so there's the energy of me feeling abandonment. I actually came into the world with it because that was the energy and the feeling, the emotions that was in grandma's eggs. When then I came, it skips a generation. So then I came. But then you can also look at your parents. Was it a single parent? Was it two parents? Were they fighting? Was it a good scenario? But maybe you had a great family, but something really tragic happened in the family, and now they weren't emotionally available for you. You took on a story of not being worthy. We all have a story. We all do. So it's just like, what's yours? Let's figure out what it is, because you can heal it. And then you're not going to trip yourself up going forward. Because if you don't, you're just going to keep attracting the same thing. The universe is just going to keep bringing that to you because it's a core belief of what you believe about yourself. And so that will just keep coming up again and again until you heal it and release and clear it. The other way, if you want to go like super spiritual, is it could be past lives. And that's just the extra part that we go.
Yes. Speaking of all of this, there's a lot of hesitation, now obviously years out, speaking about this is no big deal, but I remember first kind of dabbling in, personal development, EDMR, NLP, hypnosis, and kind of being chakras, kind of being like, is the devil gonna come and be in my bedroom with me? It's nerve-wracking. It can be really, it could feel dangerous. So what were the first steps? Like, do you remember your first steps when you first started dabbling in personal development?
I do. And I love this conversation because there are so many modalities or ways that people can go for healing that is against everything that you and I were taught, in religion. And it is, even the Roman Catholics, they fall into this category as well, or any other strict religion. For me, I went to my first Reiki session and I was afraid because I didn't know what was going to happen. And I went closed. Like, I was like, okay, I'll book a session to check it out, right? Because I'm in this discovery phase of like, what do I believe? And I had heard of Reiki, and I had some family members that had gone and they had really good experiences. So I thought, I want to try it. It was only $25. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a whirl for this one healer. She was in her beginning stages. And so I went, and she was normal. And the one thing I remember was that she said, you have an Indian guide. That was new for me. I'm like, okay. All right, I don't sure. And she said, he just has his arms open wide to you, and this river of love is just flowing towards you. And I thought, okay, that's cool. It's not scary. Nothing happened. I've never seen them. Maybe that's something for me in the future. I don't know. But I went back for another session, and she had put down an oracle card. Like, she had oracle cards and you could pick one. And I thought, well, okay, I was already given a deck. It was all about fairies. It was like a kindergarten deck. But so I was open to oracle cards at that point. And to me, they're affirmations. It's just like, friends in a box, as one healer calls them. It's a nice message for the day. Like, go sit in nature, or, tap into your heart, or heal your heart, whatever the message is. It's always on point for me. It's really incredible. Or when I'm doing a reading for someone else. And so I picked a card, and it was my birthday that day. And I had gone to the gift shop, and I purchased a heart with a key on it, an old-fashioned key, and the key had my initials on it. And I was searching for a new place to live, and I thought this will be like our new decoration, right? Something new. And I turned over the card, and it was my birthday, and it was a girl holding birthday balloons standing on an egg, which is creation. And in the middle of the egg was a box, and it had the keyhole that fit into the old-fashioned key fit into the hole. Mm-hmm. And so she goes, oh, look, it fits right in, and I'm thinking, oh, that's just a good sign. I'm going to find my new place. Like, I just felt really good about that. But what I now know is I was finding my home was my heart. I was finding the way home to myself. And I have goosebumps because I have spent my whole life on the run, in flight, because of the religions and my divorce and all of that. I wasn't able to sit still long enough, right, to go within and heal my own stuff. It's scary to heal our own stuff. And so I traveled, and I used travel as an addiction. And with that came alcohol and sex and, all of that. And so I've always been running, and nowhere ever felt like home. I was a nomad, or like a gypsy, but nowhere felt home until thankfully the lockdown happened, because I had nowhere to go. I used to be gone every weekend. Like, I would fill my schedule so packed full that I would never be home alone with my own self and my own thoughts. Part of that, I think, was, the religion, like go, serve. Yeah. But, I've been able to heal a lot of that, and even just heal being able to sit at home and watch a movie and not feel guilty that I should be doing something else. Right. So a lot of healing has come from that. And then after the Reiki session, I go home. It's my birthday. My cousin, she brought me a gift, and I'm telling her the story like I just did with the oracle card. She's like, you got to open your gift. And I'm mid-story, and I'm like, don't interrupt me. Like, you're being a jerk. She's like, you got to open the gift. So I opened the gift, and it's the same deck that I opened at the Reiki session. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm listening, hey, God, sword, whatever you are, I'm listening. Because there's just so many synchronicities. Like, the whole way home, it was like the red carpet was rolled out for me. Like, everything just fell into place where I started to notice. Then I started to notice numbers, 111, 444, 555, just like over and over, right? And so those are some of the other signs. And it could be you see visions. It could be that you feel people's energy. That could be another spiritual awakening sign. There's so many different ones. I've been moderating in a beautiful group on Clubhouse for spiritual awakenings, and like what to do when they come, especially if you've been raised religious and that this is stuff that is taboo for us, or was, then it can be really scary, because is something negative going to come into your home? And I would say, no, it is all consciousness, whether it is a heavier energy or a lighter energy, it's all consciousness, whether, dense or not. And so it's just asking for love. Just come into love. I am love. I am light. Sing a song that's of love, and it will just disappear. It will go away if there is anything in your field, but not to be afraid of it. Like, when we're in a vibration of love, the lower vibration things, whether it's someone who's angry or, it just melts away. It goes away because it can't find you anymore. You're not in that vibrational match to it anymore. So after that, I started studying with a medium, which again, totally against what we were taught. I would tell people not to go to readings. They'd be like, oh, do you want to come to a medium with us this weekend? And I'm like, no, and give all the reasons of why not, which is so funny now, because now I'm like, I can channel like one, which is really funny. We all can, we just were never taught. And so I started to study with one. We went for a coffee. We just met through another program. And again, leery, go. I'm like, okay, she's normal. She looks like she could be my neighbor, not some weirdo or like a gypsy in a skirt or anything. And she read me, like she just shared some things that really spoke into my heart. But the one thing I really remember is I walked home with a spring in my step that just felt so good and so warm, and I just had some more hope for the direction in my future. I shared some things that I wanted, and she's like, oh, well, you could do this, this, and this. And I was like, thank you. It's almost like she gave me permission to live my life the way that I want to.
Wow.
And I just felt so good. So I took some quantum healing from her, and then I was part of a healing group. This is really powerful, especially if you've come from religion, because energy healing is just simply, it's right now I can do it where Sabrina, I could just like kind of close my eyes or go into a meditation state for myself. You don't even have to be with me. I just have to know your name, and I can kind of just do a scan, and I'm tapping into the quantum field, to energy. We're all on the same grid. And what does Sabrina need? You know, what is it? And messages can come. And so that's how the energy healing works, is every day for Monday to Friday, we would, do a 45-minute session on the person who asked for healing. Didn't know them, never met them. We just knew their name and what they were dealing with. And I remember one lady, she had told us she had really bad arthritis in her hands, and she had to put she couldn't hold the phone. She had to type with it down on the counter or whatever, her messages. And she messaged us saying that she was holding her phone to text us the message saying, thank you for the healing, that we were releasing the arthritis in her hands. And I cried, and I was like, just think of that. If you are not even, you're so sick in your hands that you can't even hold your phone. Wow. And how dependent we all are on them. And so just so moved. And I thought, you know what, the power of this that we've been held back from is so incredible, and how just through energy healing, you can heal anything. And that's a very bold thing to say, but I'm telling you, whether it's like releasing stuck emotions in yourself from your trauma, really understanding how the body works. This is the metaphysics now of like energy is just emotions are energy in motion. So if you're crippled or you're feeling some kind of pain, it's a message saying, hey, pay attention. And that's where the chakras are really helpful. Again, they're not some weird thing like we were taught, or like stay away, they're evil. All they are, from a science base, is nerve endings in your spine all the way up. So it's these different clusters of nerve endings that lead to an organ or parts of your arm or like whatever. And so when you know where you're hurting in your body, we can tell where that's coming from in the chakra. Release and heal. Usually it's stuck emotions, and then the pain goes away, or you feel good, or the headaches go away. Like headaches and migraines are lack of boundaries. So if you have something in your life that's happening and you're not standing up for yourself, the headaches can come on. It can be dehydration as well. Like there's a few things to check, definitely. But if regular medicine isn't working, or you've been to the doctor and they can't figure out what's wrong with you, come and find an energy healer, because I'm telling you, they'll ask you some questions, or even just tap into you and can give you some answers that is going to heal and release. You can have an energy healer work with you and not have to have surgery, which blows me away. It's called psychic surgery, where they can actually go in and heal what it is, or heal the emotions behind it. And then you go to the doctor and they say, oh, it's healed. What have you been doing? Like, it's amazing. So amazing. It's just stuff that we can't explain. And that is just really, that is energy. That is connecting to the quantum field, source, creator, God, whatever your comfort word is.
Wow, absolutely. Mm-hmm. You've said a few times since we've been talking the word energy block. Can you kind of explain what an energy block is, and kind of what that means?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So let's do the migraines. Okay. So the energy block is you have a headache, you're hurting, and it's something that either that's wanting to be released. So maybe it's an emotion, maybe it's a time when, you have the headaches because, let's say, your boss is something's happening at work, and that situation that's happening with your boss is really just a recurring pattern for yourself of something that probably happened in childhood. And so when the boss triggers you or the headaches come on, you might not even know why you're having the headaches. Think about what's happening around the time you get it, or when you notice it's come on, because there's something there that's stuck. It's just a warning signal for you to say, hey, you've got some stuck emotions or some stuck energy that's just wanting to be cleared and released. yeah, I hope that explains it. It's just really, there's something inside of you either that's been hiding or that you have just been glossing over, or if you're so stuck in fight or flight you don't even know that that's what your body's been doing to try and get your attention. Your body is speaking to you all the time. You have any kind of ailments, your lower back is finances, your upper back is you taking on too much responsibility. We just looked up shingles today because we have some family members with shingles, and it's all about not like feeling like you're taking on like your parents' negative energies, or maybe they are emotionally unavailable, and that's all for shingles. And so when you can look at what it is and understand and piece it and heal the piece of that that's tied to, then the shingles are going to go away when you get strong. And sometimes it can take a little bit, like boundaries take some practice to build up, because if you've never had boundaries, we never knew boundaries, our family, and I would say, anyone in the Jehovah's Witness religion do not know boundaries, right? We're knocking on people's doors, getting them to, come to be a Jehovah's Witness, and at any, like, we're just like, we're the right ones and you're wrong. No, there's so many things around boundaries. Anyways, we won't get on that topic, but I digress. And so, just being able to figure out what is the stuck emotion, or what's the energy behind it, and then looking at how to heal and to clear it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can I tell you a couple more? Because I think this could be like just to help people understand. So, left knee is sore. So the energetic block would be you have self-judgment, or you have a fear of moving forward in your life. So I've had some trouble with my left knee because I want to make some changes in my life, and I've been held back by my fear. And so that's my energetic block, is to know what it is and to heal and clear it, and like just check in with my body. Okay, knee, you're hurting when I'm doing these kinds of scenarios, or in this situation. What is happening around that I'm judging myself, or I'm critical, or I'm thinking about making that move and I'm having some fear around it, and it's fear of the past. We're so stuck in our past, most of us. And then and this is I'm going a little bit deeper here, it's my feminine side. So as a feminine, like my divine feminine, it hasn't felt safe for me to be in my feminine. I've been pushed down, especially if you've been controlled in any kind of religion, narcissistic relationship, abuse, is we are shut down in the feminine. And then if you have knee pain on the right side, then you have a judgment of others. And also can be a fear of moving forward. The hips can be fear of moving forward, your feet, your ankles. So there is some commonality there. But it's really neat, because when you know what it could be attached to energetically, could be that I ripped something in my knee or whatever, but like also looking at the emotions or the energetics behind what could be there as well. It's really neat, because often you can heal and clear and release, and you don't need to be on the meds for it, or all of the other things that come with going to a doctor to get help.
Definitely. And I think that if we could go, minus the injuries, obviously, but if we could go to a thought process of what you're talking about first, before, going to the doctor and getting prescribed unnecessary medication, that would be obviously a better route to go.
Yeah. There's still a need for doctors, definitely, but you're exactly right. Like, can you just take that step back and say, okay, what's here? Knee, even if you don't know the words or what all it is, like just tap into your own intuition. Knee, what is the message? Or shoulder, when did it happen? What was going on? How did you feel in that moment? And then can you look at it from that angle to see, like, what is the message? What do you want to tell me? And you might hear, it's your own words. It's not anything that's like this booming voice from above. Not at all. It's my own voice. So it feels very comfortable. Or it might be just a knowing where you can't explain it, but you just know something. Mm-hmm. Like I know someone who when someone says that they're pregnant, she says, oh, it's a girl or it's a boy. She just knows, because we're all like that. We all have that within us. We've just never been taught how to access it. So one thing that really helped me, and I'll share this part for especially if you've been raised in religion, as I have a spiritual coach, and they had explained when we die, the grid doesn't change. So I just imagine like a green grid, kind of like the Matrix. So when we die, that the grid doesn't change. And so if grandpa passes away, yes, his physical body is no longer here, absolutely, but science has proven that that energy can't be destroyed or created. So he's here somewhere, and it's just in another form. And so if you want to connect, I have goosebumps right now. Like if you want to connect, ask him for a sign, or ask him to see butterflies, or ask to see I don't know, a unicorn, something. You're going to see it. It's going to come, because as we are energy, so is everyone else, and so they feel that. It's just the same as if you say, I haven't heard from John in a while, and then he messages you.
Yeah.
He felt the vibration of you wanting to have a conversation or just thinking about him, and then thought, oh, I should reach out to you. It's all energy. Same if you talk poorly about someone. So I recommend not doing that, because they feel it too. And so it's just really being able to connect to yourself. And this is why healing your traumas, or like anything from the past, but calming your nervous system is really important, because the more you calm your nervous system and retrain your body out of that fight or flight that we probably grew up in, then now you start to feel, hear, see things that you didn't really know before, because you were just stuck here. You couldn't see them or feel them before, but then you'll start. And it's cool, because once your nervous system is calming down and you're tapping into your intuition, you actually know what your hell yes is and your hell no. Yeah. So if someone's asking you for a coffee and it's not in your best interest, you feel it in your body, we just don't pay attention. Mm-hmm. But the more you can learn and practice that, or if you want to, make a move in your business as an example, or hire a coach as an example, you can actually tap in. Is this someone who's going to help me, like get me to my next level? You're going to get a hell yes or a hell no.
Yeah.
And that's part of muscle testing.
I love that you're saying that. That reminds me of, well, not necessarily that, but I came from an abusive relationship with a narcissist. And, through that journey, I have very diligently been working on my codependency and being a stronger voice and speaking my mind and being authentic and all of the things. And one of the interesting, I don't want to say issues, but challenges that my fiance and I have had is me speaking authentically. So you're mentioning getting a coffee or whatever drink you just mentioned, and it being a hell yes and a hell no. And that sounds so silly could sound silly to somebody who hasn't necessarily gone through any sort of trauma.
Right.
However, it's interesting, because there are times literally when, he will say, hey, can you get this for me? And I will say no. And it sounds silly, but there's like a boundary, and there's a line between me feeling as if I'm being taken advantage of, and then me feeling as if it's something authentically that I, in a loving state, will do for him. And him also, as we're learning and developing and like learning to work together, and him being like, what the frick is wrong with you? But now he's using those same exact exercises himself and learning to live authentically as himself. And it's so interesting, the dynamic of the things that we will do for each other because we love each other, and then the things that we won't do for each other because it is literally a boundary. If he's busy doing something and I say, oh, hey, can you please grab this for me? He is allowed, even if it's on his side, but if he's really focused on something, he does and will say now, I'm busy. And us being okay with that and realizing like, hey, listen, this is how we are going to last. This is how a healthy relationship, this is what a healthy relationship looks like, is not taking advantage of each other and being able to speak our authentic truth without hurting each other's feelings, without being disappointed. And then being okay with that on both sides. So it's very interesting when you get to that point.
Yeah, that's so good. You are doing it. That's the work. Yeah. And you are healing. And like, it is practice and it is work. So I don't want to say that it's easy or, or kind of bypass the work that is needed. Like, and it's having someone to help you and to support you. And it is repetition. It takes 63 days plus up to a year to reprogram a new habit. And so really have so much love and so much self-compassion for yourself. But like, here's the spoiler. It's really just life skills. It's learning what are emotions, how to name them and speak them. What are boundaries? Boundaries is not this big wall where it's like, you can't do this to me. Boundaries simply is you taking a step back and giving yourself space to process how you want to respond in the moment, but also what it is, and it's our responsibility. We have to own our own stuff. It's our responsibility. This is what a boundary is. Imagine like, you're a house and there's a fence around you. You are basically telling someone, this is how you love me, and it's this way I would like the door to open, right? So it's my responsibility to tell you how to love me. If I'm triggered, and that's a really good example, if I'm triggered and he asked me for, to grab a glass of water, but in that moment I'm feeling like, no, there's two things there. What energy are you in, or what's your thought process? Is it no, I feel like I'm being taken advantage of right now? Or is it, no, I'm actually not available and you're in your safe emotions? Then absolutely that's okay. But if it's no, because I'm feeling like I'm being taken advantage of right now, then that's all on you. That is your responsibility to heal that trigger. I'm not like pointing for you, but like for anyone listening, it's like, that is not that person's responsibility. It's ours, and to own it and say, okay, and this is great. This is where you get curious. This is how you heal yourself. So he wants a coffee. I'm feeling triggered. I'm feeling like I'm being taken advantage of. Why? And where is this coming from? What is true? Does he love me? Yes. Is he taking advantage of me like my past? No. Can I control whatever's happening in the situation? No. Or usually yes. Yes or no. Sorry, depending. And just kind of like walking yourself through those steps so that we're not offended. We have our backs up so many times, and it's just our old junk. It's that old story that we learned probably from childhood, of not being worthy or being talked over or whatever the root is. And so everything in your life, as you do one thing, you do everything. This is another important piece. If you've had any kind of trauma or something that has happened, and I'm not even talking about sexual abuse, like you've been pushed down or you haven't been given a voice. For us in the Jehovah's Witness religion, we were given our identity. We weren't allowed to be our own thinking mind. We were usually punished for it because it didn't fit into the realm of what they were teaching. And so when you've been pushed down like that, now you're living. And so let's say you have a business and you're married or you're engaged. As you do one thing, you do everything. And so if you've been pushed down, it's very difficult for you to ask for help or to ask for support because maybe you were chastised or you were punished or criticized. And so it was easier to keep your mouth shut if you walked on eggshells kind of thing, or there was a really strong force in the family. So then what happens is now it's going to affect how you are in your business and whether you can ask for the sale or whether you can raise your price and ask for, amount that really is what you're worth instead of the lower amounts that often new entrepreneurs, especially, because there's a little bit of a confidence thing there, but it's also around the money story, how you handle your money, how you ask, for what you want with family in the dining room at dinner, and how you ask for what you want in the bedroom. Where it's like, if I just ask for a little bit, then I won't be rejected or abandoned. And so it's really just think about yourself. And when you're talking to someone and you're asking for things, how does it feel? If you're hiding, then get help, because you can heal that stuff. It can definitely go away where you're just feeling strong. Again, back to life skills. How are you in expressing your emotions and, speaking your truth? What are boundaries? And that when you feel so safe and secure in your skin and who you are, no one can rattle you or trigger you unless you let them, because you know who you are and you know what you're not available to anymore. And the red flags start to become, well, like, especially someone's trying to be controlling with me now. I'm like, well, not safe. I've been here before. And so I'm able to like take that little bit of a step back and say, I'm not available to that, or no, thank you. I actually, would like to do this instead, or really just being in your own space and being responsible for yourself. But then also, it's not our business how anyone responds to us or what's happening out there. It's us and how we're responding. And are we doing it from old programming, or are we in our 2.0 person, our new way of healing and dealing with things so that we're not triggered as easily or in that same loop that negative loop of, life is difficult, or it's hard, or, no one wants to date me, whatever your story is that you might say over and over. You don't need to live there. You don't need to suffer emotionally anymore, which is really great.
Yeah. I kind of want to touch a little bit on the example that we were kind of talking about for the ladies that are watching and the individuals that are going
Cool.
to be listening on replay. And the reason why is because I think a lot of times when we're first learning about living authentically, when we're first learning about boundaries, at least in my experience, I totally sucked at it in the very beginning. I was super mean when I was setting boundaries. I would get mad. So instead of saying, you know, I can't even think of an example, but instead of kindly saying things like kindly setting boundaries, I would rudely set them. I would say them in a mean way or a rude way or a yelling way. Because I had never done it before, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't feel comfortable doing it. I was mad that the person was making me have to set a boundary because to me it seems like common sense. So why would I even have to say that? Because obviously, so that would trigger frustration, anger, yelling, because that's the way that I had always been dealt with in the past, was through yelling, anger, and frustration. So that's how I was setting my boundaries. And it took me a good while to realize, oh, I don't have to be rude about this. I can literally just say it like normal talking and they will listen. So, for those individuals who are listening right now, who are in a point where they're like, wow, this makes sense. Everything Christine is saying is making sense, and I get it and I like it. I'm going to start setting boundaries. So, when I gave my example about the water or whatever, and then you said, I said that I felt like I was being taken advantage of, and then you said for me to look inside. Can you kind of explain that a little bit, not only for myself but also for individuals who are working this? Because, like, so my example that I would give is today, for instance. Did a bunch of meetings, had a bunch of calls, met two people in person, doing a podcast. I still have to make dinner. And then eat dinner, then clean dishes, then still more work to do. And in that journey of what I'm doing today, there's a handful of things that I've done for the family. Laundry, I swept the floor earlier. And in my mind, somebody says, hey, can you please take my dirty plate to the sink? That would trigger in me, no. Like, I just did all this other stuff. You haven't done any house stuff today. That would make me feel, just being transparent with you, that would make me feel as if I am being taken advantage of. So when you're kind of saying what you're saying, how should I view it? And am I possibly using the wrong word usage when I'm saying or feeling that?
Mhm. That's really good. Let's go back to the water first, and then we'll come back to the plate.
Okay.
You're okay? Yeah? Okay.
Go ahead and keep talking. I have to get my charger. So just keep
Okay.
talking. I'm listening.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So the water first. I'm feeling taken advantage of because someone is asking me for the water or how to speak those boundaries. It's all in how it feels to you. So and again, it could be, yeah, we'll talk about, so the feeling of I feel taken advantage of, why? It has nothing to do with the water or your fiance. It's all about you and why you feel that way in that moment. And so you can say, not right now because I'm busy, I'm doing something else, or there's many different ways that you can say a boundary that is polite, that is honoring how you feel. So no self-betrayal there, but also doesn't have to be yelling or, like you're always whatever. If that's the case and that's the energy, and then that's you. Like you gotta sort out yourself with that. The feeling like taken advantage of over the water is like, when did you feel like that first? Let's go back. And if you're willing to play, we'll play right now. If it is around the water, and just think about like what was happening in that feeling or those emotions that you had. When did you feel like that? When was the first time that you remembered feeling like that? Was it in a home where you had to do everything for your parents, or you weren't left to be a kid and to be on your own? You were given too much responsibility growing up. There's so many different ways that can show up, where now you're like, no, I don't want to do that.
I mean, if the first thing that would come to mind would just be my last relationship where I did everything.
Okay. Hmm. Cool. So then it comes back to like, what are your personal boundaries? So if you're doing everything and you're feeling resentful, and we can go easily into the plate scenario for this, then, why do you feel that you need to do everything and not ask for help and ask for support? So on a day like today, when you know it's going to be busy, hey kids, I'd love you could do these two things for me. I'd like you to sweep the floor, and I'd like you to take the laundry from the dryer and put it away in your drawer, like whatever. That's your responsibility to then delegate and to ask for help. And a lot of us don't feel safe to ask for help or for support. There's going to be some kind of rejection there, or even it could be that they give us backlash. Well, I'm sorry, but this is how a household works, and I'm also a business owner, and so I do need some support, and it's okay. It's okay to ask for help. Even if you get the backlash, again, it's not about them or how they respond.
Mm-hmm.
What you did the hard thing. You asked for help. And sometimes, especially if you've been in an abusive type of relationship growing up, that is a major thing, to even ask for what you want and to feel safe enough and to not feel guilty either about no is no, or hey, I have a really busy day tomorrow, or even in the moment, I appreciate that you want me to take your plate to the table, but actually I've had a really long day and I'm just feeling like no in the moment. Do you mind if I sit here and you clear and empty the table? I would really love that. And see what they say. If they're like, no, then, come back at another day when you're not going to freak out and yell and it's going to create something. Then you just take a step back, and maybe you just take in the plate, but then on a day when you're not triggered, you're going to say, hey, I the other night when you had asked me to take the plate, I took it, but really I was thinking like, man, I've been doing all this work. And so for myself, what I noticed in me is that I need to ask for more help around the house. So what are some of the chores that you could go, like going forward, you can help me with in the week? So it might not be picking in that moment. It could be you do the thing that's hard, especially when you've got children or you're in a household. But then when it's a time when they're watching TV, or before bed's a really good time with the kids because they're in their nice calmer state, is be like, hey, earlier when this happened, I felt. It's not you, or you never hear me, or you never pointing the finger or saying you. You're always expressing from I felt blah blah blah, whatever it is, or this made me feel. You're always taking ownership of how it's feeling for you. The trigger is for you. It is not even about them. It's not about the plate. It's about you are not delegating enough in your life, and now you're resenting doing everything in the family. So that actually is for you, and to then come to a place of, why don't I feel okay to ask for help in the house? Is it because I'm afraid of rejection? Am I afraid of them complaining? Or, well, we can teach our kids responsibility of like, everyone pitches in. It's not just for one person to do all the work and then be so dead tired. But it's also honoring yourself. And this is really cool with like, this is coming back to healing your nervous system, because if you're really tired or you're feeling like today is just, I'm just done, I got to cook and then do the dishes. You know what? Today would be a really good day for takeout.
Mm-hmm.
And treat yourself, because it's keeping an eye on you and how you're feeling and what is available to you. What could you do? Because you ask the kids even to make eggs for dinner, so we're going to have breakfast for dinner. It's something that they can cook, so that is coming off of you. And yeah, I'll stop there. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you're talking about, like you were saying earlier, is all just life skills and things that we should have been taught but weren't necessarily
Yeah.
taught. I want to ask you, what's one thing that you've learned, just throughout your journey, that you believe if everyone knew this, then,
Mm-hmm.
their entire life, or the trajectory, or the journey of their life would have gone differently or would change?
Yeah, absolutely. Is that you are your greatest healer. So you have the skills and the ability to heal yourself. And I have goosebumps right now. Like our body, we are so powerful. And also the second piece of that is that you are the one that you're looking for. So if you're looking to have a need met by someone else, a child, a spouse, something on online where you're numbing, whatever, you're looking outside of yourself to give your, for happiness or whatever that is, turn it around, because you are only the one that can give it to you. Nobody else can. No one will ever be able to give it to you in the way that you need. And so I just say that you are the one that you're looking for. And in the morning, when you're able to fill your own cup of whatever your own personal need is, your brain's not going to look for it the rest of the day. So you're not going to be numbing. You're not going to be turning to sugar or whatever your addiction might be, because you have gone in and you have filled that cup first. Morning is the best time to do it, because then your brain's not like, I need this fix, the rest of the day. You've already given it to yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. How do you decide to show up for your world today?
Yeah, very good question. It's really that practice in the morning. You can call it a routine, a ceremony, a ritual, whatever it is when I wake up in the morning, is really taking that time for myself. That's my self-love care in the morning, because then if I'm doing that, then my day has started in a really beautiful way, and I'm in gratitude. I'm open to receiving what's going to be coming, and not in the problems or like fixing. Whereas if I wake up and it's like this hurried thing, or maybe I've slept in and now it's this go, 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 I am off until I can get some, 5 minutes even to just come back and reset. And that's through that meditation, just closing your eyes and taking some deep breaths to just come back home, come back to yourself. I think that is just the best way to be in a calmer state to run your life, instead of the hurried and,
Yeah.
usually that fight or flight.
Yes. When do you think you kind of came into that? Was that soon after kind of the whole Baptist um, church thing, or is that recently?
Nope. That wasn't until I started to learn how to meditate, and how delicious it was to
Yeah.
be in that state where it was so warm and cozy. You just want to stay there because it feels good. And maybe there's different ways to do it, where you could do the guided, but when, the way that we teach in the Healing Soul School is when you close your eyes is how to calm yourself. And this can take some practice, because if you've had some kind of abuse or trauma, it's scary to close your eyes and it may not feel safe. That's why you definitely want to have someone helping you with it. But when you can come into a place where you can go, like, even I imagine, I love the beach, so I'll imagine a beach place, and just imagine me on, by the ocean, and how it feels, and whatever I'm wanting. Let's say, it's in growing in my business, or a new house that I want to buy. I'll go there in my mind, and I'll visualize what it's like with it already done. It's part of the law of attraction and manifesting, of like, it's already done. Or let's say I'm having like a crazy day, and I'm just like, I'm in the shits. I'm just like, when is this day going to end? What I can do is I can close my eyes, get present, come back to my breath, and I can imagine myself. I kind of imagine like a two-story, like a building even, where I'm in the chaos. I just imagine lifting up myself to the second floor, and what it's like to be there, and everything that I want is done. The dishes are done, the kids, put to bed, a bath, all of that, and it's just done. And I just sit there, and I'm in the contentment of like, thank you, and it's done, and there's calm and peace on that second floor. And then what happens is things just start to fall into place. I
That's
have
awesome.
time, I've got the energy, I just got a little bit, I can give more. I'm not in the space of like, my cup is dry and I'm ready to crack kind of place. This is one last thing I really think is really important for people, and kind of what I feel I'm here to help people with, is when we've had trauma, we leave our body, our soul or our higher self leaves our body. And so whatever your denomination or however you connect, just think about like your higher self, or your all knowing, when you just like know something, or even your gut reaction, you just know, your intuition, even if you want to call it your intuition. Just imagine that that is reconnecting back into your heart space, so that you are working from a place where you can connect to your higher self, your intuition. Doesn't matter what the word is, it's all the same in the energy. And that you're not alone. Like, when I have an appointment or something, I'm just like, hey, higher self, can you remind me to do that, or to find that, or hey, and I just kind of like, hey, universe, I'm looking for a new umbrella for our back deck, and I just put it out there, and now I'm just in the excited expectation that something will come along in my next day or two. I get faster as I really lean into trusting the universe that I am looked after and all my needs are met. That's a big thing with the church, regardless of your denomination, is that we were dependent on a really mean guy in the sky, right, to bring us things. We prayed to him.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can rebuild your trust in yourself and that you are looked after and that we're not meant to live in scarcity mindset, whether it's time, love, or poverty, then you really can come into the space of you are held by the divine. Like, just let that sink in. You are held by Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
We're cocooned by Father Sky, Mother Earth. The indigenous know this so well, of like really just connecting back to your roots. If you feel wobbles or you don't feel like you're connected or you don't have a support system, then I try this. Go and sit under a tree and feel held and supported by a support system, the structure of the tree that is bigger than you.
I
You
love
cannot help
that.
but feel good. Like, go and lay under a tree, especially if you have kids. Go look at the sky and say, what do you see in the clouds, right? Make it a game for them. But as you lay there, just imagine the roots underneath you and above is the canopy, like you're cocooned in the arms of the tree. Willow trees are really good for this. There's a really strong energy of strength in a willow tree. And just feel held and supported by the universe, by Mother Nature, by that tree, because the trees talk to each other just like we do. When John calls you, it's because we're talking just like the roots of a tree. The tree brings up the water in the morning, up the tree, and then at night it goes back down. Like, everything in nature is perfect. And so just think of that, and you'll feel so held. Put your hand on the tree if you want. The tree is going to speak to you. You're going to feel something within, whether you feel held, supported, you've got an answer for something that you've been wanting to, whether you cry because you're just feeling so supported and loved unconditionally by nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're supposed to feel. That's how we're supposed to connect and to live from that space, not this hurried, am I going to be able to pay my bills? All of those things. Is like, just feel so held and supported by nature and Mother Earth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I I'm I'm wondering, there's so much stuff. There's so much good information here. I mean, I feel like we could keep you on for hours. But, for individuals who are watching now or on the replay, you've obviously, shared so much awesome information. However, what kind of things do you have going on within the next few years, for individuals who are looking to follow you or looking to connect with you? Can you kind of give us a synopsis of what you have going on maybe now, and then what, your plans, going into the future, business, personal?
Yeah. I love this question because I'm a visionary. So this is like right up my alley.
Yes.
Yes. And I always build, so I'll tell you what we're doing in the Healing Soul School, but I hold space, big space for people, because I want to make sure that people have, like, start here, but then here's your next step and here's your next step, because this just actually came from a 6-week program that I had created. Beautiful people in it. We transmuted a lot of their energy and helped them heal confidence and consciousness. Then after the 6 weeks, I kind of felt like they fell off a cliff. It was like their support system was gone and they went back into their old patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 63 days, they needed more time to reprogram some of that stuff. But from that point and learning from that, I was like, okay, I don't want anyone to ever feel like that. I want to feel like they've got that next step. So for us, we bring you in as you are. It's kind of like the car wash. I bring you in, wash off your old programming. What's the old junk that needs to go? We teach you how to heal yourself. And then if you want to help others, we teach you how to heal others through business or like through healing or a support. Could be, doesn't have to be around healing either. And then the business on how to do it. So our one-stop shop. Well, we have everything for you under our roof so that you're not having to go out and search for different places. If you trust us enough and you come in and we're here to hold you and love you and bring you through, like, under our wing, then we're going to support you through all of the stages so that you're not having to go out and look at, and, for all of these different things that you might need. So for us, it's really like, I really love working with entrepreneurs who were raised in fear or trauma, because I understand it. I'm trauma informed and I see where you're hiding. I have been that person, or still am working on it. And so I'm going to call you out on your stuff, and I'm going to help you to heal that fear or whatever is hiding. And then I'm also going to help elevate you on, here's some tools that you can do in your business, or what you can do to actually get seen and not be afraid of it. Now it's opening your expansion for money. How are you energetically? If you grew up in poverty, then you're going to have a really small window of what you believe you deserve for money. Let's open that. Let's expand that. Let's just imagine from inside, you've got a flower in there, and we're opening you up from within so that you are open and you are expansive and your heart is open and it's safe, because you know when to be in your masculine and to be in protection. And you know when it's safe to be in your feminine, to be vulnerable and to go first. Like, the woman goes first. She's that leader in the masculine and feminine in that case. And so really it's coming in and then having these steps. For me, it's a 3-year. So I'll bring you in of like wherever you are. Usually it's people that are making less than 50K a year, or they know they want to help people, but they have no idea. So it's start and growth. We help you find or refine your message in what it is and what you want to do to help people. And then there's the growth. So year 1 is really just figuring out, who are you? What is your message? What are you here to help others with? And I see that. I see what the gifts that people have. It's kind of like, bring me your pieces. I'm going to help you put it all together. And you're going to feel so jacked up and so good about what you do, that's the energy that's going to come out when you're explaining what it is you do. Not, I'm a psychotherapist, or like whatever it is. It's going to be, this is what I do, and this is who I help, and this is the transformation. You're just going to feel that from within you. People are drawn to that. You're a magnet now, because they see you and they see your posting. They're like, she can help me. I know it. I'm feeling it, right? It's that energy exchange. Yeah. So that's my ascension, is like to come in and then start in growth. Then year 2, we're going to build you up to 6 figures. And then after that, you might just want to stay there. And then year 3, if you really want to create a huge impact, then now we're helping you to grow to, even bigger. And this is bringing on team members and those kinds of things. I have a business coach that's a 7-figure coach. She's built her, so I'm learning under her, which is really awesome, because then I can just, bring that knowledge and information to grow my business, but then also to help others. I want to help people or entrepreneurs to grow their reach and to grow their impact, because I think that especially at this time, so many people are needed. And if people know anything about the body, or you've had Reiki, or you're a nurse or a massage therapist, reach out to me, because I can teach you how to create a business from home, working online, where you can actually, work and impact people who are staying up at night searching for you. They're looking for people who provide what you do. And the cool thing is, it's what you've been through and all the stuff that you've gone through in your life. That's what's going to be the thing that you are able to develop. It's your gifts. It's what you have and what you're here for. And so we can use that to kind of like the ingredients for your elixir, and we can create something that's going to feel really good, that you're so proud of, because now you're not going to burn out. You're going to know what your truth is and what your spiritual vision, I call it, of like what you're here for. That's a very different way to grow and develop a business than wanting to pay your bills or wanting to get out of financial insecurity. You build a business from there, sorry, it's not going to last, because there's no passion. You are not behind it. It's just simply to pay bills. And so it's just see how the energy changes, and you can just feel it. If you're building something to not have financial insecurity, it can work, and you're going to definitely provide some kind of service or something for people, but you're not going to be jacked up, and you're not going to feel like it's alive. As opposed to like, let's start at the very beginning with your business foundation, is like, what makes you come alive? What are the things that people always come to you? What are you really natural at? We're going to take what those gifts are, and we're going to create something so that you feel confident. You don't need to learn. You don't need another course. No one needs more certification. You need what you've already had done or have taken, and be able to take those pieces and put it together for something. So we have healing, deprogramming, if you've been in a cult or narcissistic relationship or religion, we have a program for that. We have breath work, meditation. I created a program called Naked Alchemy, and this is just fun because I like to have fun. And it's all about safe vulnerability, how to go within. It's our healing program, how to heal yourself with the things I've been talking about today and really connect to your energy. It's not so woo-woo out there. A lot of it is science and basic life skills, like I mentioned, but it's really to learn how to wake up the inner person within you, whether you're male or female, so that you feel safe in your vulnerability, safe intimacy. I want you to be able to ask for what you want in the bedroom, have fun, pleasure. Pleasure is part of our divine feminine, divine masculine. The masculine is the structure, the feminine is the nurture or the pleasure. And we are now safe, ladies especially. You can have pleasure. You can ask for what you want. It is safe. You just got to, follow some of the steps. It's in my ebook to get you to move in that direction, so that you can really enjoy the life that you are living and not feel like this is my lot in life, or, wake up every day going, man, like this life sucks. I don't like it. Create it. You can totally change around everything. Even if you've got kids and more, like whatever it is, you can still, there's a solution to every problem. That's part of the universal laws, and just figuring out what are your pieces, what do you really want that jacks you up, and then moving you in that direction. Sorry, I feel like this is my heart, my passion. Like I really just want to help elevate women so much that we've been pushed down for so long, from the patriarchal masculine, and then especially in religion, where I just like, you can take all of your pieces and really create something so freaking fantastic for yourself, and it doesn't have to take a lot of work, which is really beautiful. If you have a program, even if it's $500, you have 10 people join, that's $5,000 for you right there, right? So it doesn't have to take a lot of work and that sort of thing. So we've got Naked Alchemy, and then I'll leave that for now. We do have the village, excuse me. I knew there was one more. The Business Village, and this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have 2 hours of office hours. This is 12 to 2 Eastern, and you just come and you get help for your business. So Tuesdays, I'm building up your confidence. We're building you up so that you are strong in your nervous system. I know maybe what your traumas are and where you could be playing small. We're gonna release that and expand you. Wednesdays is all about the logistics in your business, how to do stuff like StreamYard and whatever platforms you're on, or do you need to set up some automation in your business where you've gotten new onboarding, someone's onboarding, the email automatically goes out. You don't need to be a part of it. You don't have to wear that hat. You don't have to wear all the hats, which is really awesome. So Virginia, my business partner, helps with that, and she's our meditation coach. When you meditate, you reprogram the neurosynaptic connections in your brain, and it helps calm you down. Like it's just such an important part of your life, and to do it in a way where you feel so delicious. Like it feels so good that now, I never used to be a morning person. Now I get up to meditate, and I, like a year or two ago, I would have been like, you're crazy. Nope, I'm not doing that. Now I want to, because it is so juicy and delicious. And then on Thursdays, I'm teaching on business again. Like, where are you at? What do you need? And we heal in community. So the great thing is on these calls is you're going to hear from other entrepreneurs and where they are in their business. It's going to help you either now or in the future, but we learn together, but then we can also collaborate together. That's a great thing. There's no more competition in business. Like, if you're doing something similar than I am, awesome. Now I lock arms with you because you're my neighbor and we're doing this together. There's enough abundance for all of us. There's no more competition. If you take my client, then I don't have, not anymore. We're not in that energy or that space. It's now, how can we collaborate so that we can combine our gifts and really come together? Because when we do that, we're going to help more people. And that really is for us, the name of our game is to help build and develop leaders so that you're really strong. Now you go out and help more people. And so our school just takes so much pride in that, because we've helped to develop other leaders out there that are going to go out and shine. And it makes me a little emotional. Yeah. And the world is going to be, the better for it.
That's awesome. Yeah. So great. I could totally feel the vibrations of that. That's so exciting. Thank you so much for everything. I so appreciate the time that you've taken to sit down and share all of this awesome information. I do want to ask one last question. I'm wondering what you would say to your 20-year-old self now, looking back.
Yeah, great question. I would say, really just keep going. There's been so much struggle to get to this place, but every piece of it was a part of the journey that has made me who I am today. So I don't regret any of it, even the tears and like all of the hard stuff. I went through it for whatever reason. And so now it's like, look for the gifts in the things that, you went through, to really just embody what that is, and what the gift is that, I feel as a soul living a human experience, you came here to heal and to evolve, and maybe even generationally for your family. So really, it's like, keep going. You're doing awesome.
Yes.
Can I share something with you?
Yes,
While we were
yes.
chatting? So I raised my 8-year-old niece, and this is my old phone that I'm using for business. And so these are triggers. You saw it. She dropped this in. This wasn't broken earlier. So she came in. I'm live. She knows. She slid it here beside where she picked it up from the table, and she had taken it to the park and it fell and broke. So here I am on live with you, and I see the phone, and I'm like inside. I'm like, all right, let me take a step back. How am I going to look after this later? We're going to have a conversation, obviously, but now I've had some time. I'm not as ticked as I was when I first saw it, but this is life. Like, this is, I had a major trigger that happened on the Zoom. You guys didn't know, because I'm able to just like take a breath. Okay, I can take that, the anger, like frustration, and I can put it in a bubble and say later, we're going to talk later, and I'll come back and be present with you. And that's the work. It's just how to separate those moments of, you don't have to deal with everything in the moment. You don't have to answer the phone when it dings. You get to decide when you do that. It's really just owning your peace, and and being in that space, because now life, it's enjoyable. It's not putting out fires all the time. Actually, you're the one with the hose, and you're like, nope, not today, not today.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, this has been absolutely phenomenal. I so appreciate you taking some time out of your day to sit down and share so many of your goodies. Uh, so there's just so much, there's so much, and there's so many things that I didn't even know. Like, I'm still floored that the first thing you did was Reiki. Like, that's just insane to me. I just can't even, like, the first thing, that's just crazy. I so appreciate you, opening up and sharing some of your past stories.
Yeah. And when you're open, like, it's amazing. And I went, and to me at the time, like, it was just like, ooh, this is taboo when when I was younger. So let me try and see what it is, right? I like massages, so I didn't know. And all she did was like, she put her hands over me. Like, honestly, looking back, I'm like, okay. But now that I understand energy, and she could feel things, maybe where I was blocked or whatever, and she probably moved emotions for me that I didn't even know that she did. Maybe I need to go back and have a conversation with her. But after I just said, okay, I'm open, like, just show me. And that's all you need to do. You don't need to figure it out or whatever. Just say, universe, like, I'm open. I want to heal this thing that I'm dealing with. And I want to learn how to live, in a calm, peaceful manner, and to connect to myself. The universe is going to surprise you. Like, the things are going to come. And so now, like, I'm very highly intuitive. I channel. So when I'm chatting with someone or I'm doing a session, I'm the vessel. It's just like praying. It's just like the Holy Spirit. If someone was, for a religious person, it's just different words. But now I understand a little bit more, and it's not so much of a box. It's like, I am open. And yeah, it's just allowing that to come through. But the cool thing, and I'm going to say it, so that I think it's just really neat from what you said about the Reiki, is I have a guide now. So the Indian guide was like, he showed up both times in my Reiki sessions, but now I have goosebumps that come on my left arm. And she's been here already during the session. Her name's Lily. Another healer told me about her and that she was there, but I feel her. So when I'm having a chat with someone, whether it's in a session or just like a conversation over coffee, I feel tingles when she's here. So when I'm saying something, for me, it's like, pay attention. It's either a message for the person or for myself. And it's usually just about love, or I'm on the right track. And it's cool because it's my hell yes confirmation. Not even feeling my body, but it's just like my cheerleaders right here going, yeah, keep going, like, you're doing great. And I was just open. That's all it was. It wasn't anything I did or whatever. And so I would just say, calm your nervous system. That's going to be super helpful, so you can feel all these things. But then once you do, and you are an open vessel, an open heart, I just want to say, like, get ready, because the universe will definitely step in and surprise you.
Yes, absolutely. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
any closing thoughts before I close out?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your space, for what you are doing, and in your businesses, and just what your heart is. I feel so honored to know you, and so fun, and I feel like I've known you forever, which is awesome. And
I
I think
agree.
we would get into trouble if we were together and out. And I look forward to the day that I do get to meet you, and we can
Yes.
go out and, I don't know, even walk on the beach or something. But
Yes.
just thank you for all that you and Dana are doing, because I just think it's so fabulous, so needed, and you two are so fun and just have a lot to offer the world. And we're grateful for you and for this space.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you for all of that. And again, thank you for taking some time out of your day to sit down with us and share so much.
Mhm.
And I'm so excited to have you on again. I hope to share this panel with you,
Cool.
um, in the future. And then I'm also hoping that you'll be able to attend one of our round tables at some point
Awesome.
in the future. So,
Love it.
for those of you that are listening now, thank you so much for hanging out with us. For those of you that are watching on the replay, feel free to comment. We always come back around and answer any questions or any inquiries that you guys have. So thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. If you have an amazing story to share, struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at heraversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. Have an amazing day. Much love.